right, perfect. So thank you everybody for taking a little bit of time to be on the Flash News session today. I'm happy to see actually some familiar names. So you probably recognize my voice from some of the trainings we've done together. So thank you very much for being here. I'm actually really excited about being able to show you one of the greatest tools about Sabre Red 360, which is Trip Proposal, that's going to basically enable you to send ideas of itineraries to your customers without the need of really booking the itinerary, but having the opportunity to book that at the end. So I'm going to take like 10 minutes to be able to show you this information. It's going to be hard because there's quite a lot of nice things to show you, but then we're going to talk about the training options in order for you to be able to register for our training on Trip Proposal. I'm going to also take advantage of these 10 minutes to show you one of the other favorite features on Sabre Red 360, which is our air shopping tool. And what I'm going to do is basically to request for itineraries and pricing from Miami, and I want to go to Bahamas. I'm going to select my date for, let's say, November the 17th, and I will just do a simple round trip to return on the 30th. We also have trainings available for you to learn more about this tool. So at this point, I'm going to shop Airfare. When I click on Airfare, I'm going to get about 150 options in here with the total price of the ticket. Hopefully, you've seen this tool before, but if you have not, there's a training available for you. And I can see some nice elements here at the top. I can say, well, look, I can save $33. That's great. I can click right here on my flexible dates, and if my customer is willing to change departure in return, I can say, well, American works much better for $235, and I can go ahead and shop. Once you have all of your itinerary options in here, that's where the Trip Proposal is going to actually come into play. You can go ahead and you can find all the information you need about your itineraries and, of course, price breakdown in here. But we're going to see that once I open the panel for the different options, not only I can sell and save the price, but I can also propose. And that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to do this with a couple of options that I want to share with my customer. You're going to notice to the right-hand side of the screen some things are happening. We're going to take a look at that in a second. And again, as I was saying, if I take a look at the different options, I can scroll down and I can say, well, this is something that they may want to pay a little bit more for, but the times may be better for them. So once again, I can open it up and propose. Now, in Sabre Red 360, for those of you that have been in Sabre for a long time, the key combinations continue to work, so I can always do Shift and Backspace, and that's to clean my screen. And you may wonder, where is my proposal right now? What happened to those pricing and itinerary options that I had? As I was telling you, to the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to have the clipboard item with a light, with a green light. That's how I normally call it. And there's also a briefcase with a green light. This is your trip proposal, guys, and again, this is where you are going to be able to work with it. From here, if I click on the clipboard icon, I can go ahead and I can perform different actions. One of the things that I can do, and I recommend people doing, is to add traveler information. For example, I can say, well, this is something that I'm actually creating for this passenger, but of course, later on, I may want to create it for someone else. So I can say, well, I'm going to name this Gentile Leandro. And that's going to be actually the name of my traveler for who I originally created this proposal for. It doesn't need to be the passenger that's going to be actually taking the trip at the end. But I've named this because that's going to be a great way for us to be able to search for more information. Now again, you can see that there's more options to add a service fee or alias if you want it, and I can go ahead and see also the three dots next to the segments from where I am going to be able to book, validate the price, or include the rules. We're going to take a look at that in a second, but I also want you to see the possibility of adding a hotel or a car. You can actually create a really complete and nice proposal for your customer that includes everything for the trip. So we're going to quickly go ahead and add a hotel, and what I like is that it takes me right away to my hotel information, and it loads everything based on my itinerary. So I can go ahead and directly shop for hotels, and again guys, there's plenty of trainings available on Sabre Red 360, and I can say, well, this one is the one that I'm looking for. So that's awesome. I can go ahead and one more time open this app, and I'm going to be able to take a look at the rates. We do need to get into the rates for the different hotels that we want in order for us to be able to send to our customers different options. So again, I can say, well, I'm going to give them the chance to get this rate. And if I open that up once again, guys, we have the option to propose. You will get to see how that information gets added as a trip proposal. And if I want to do, again, another option, then I just need to scroll down, open this app, and just click on Propose. Remember, once in a while, and this is something I do, I just clean my screen, so I just focus on what I need to the right-hand side, and right here, the same thing that I did adding a hotel, I can do it with a car. I really like this because it grabs the information based on my itinerary, even the pickup and drop-off time, and again, I can shop for availability. I can go ahead and say, well, this is probably the one that I want to offer them. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to propose. So everything gets added into the same trip proposal that I'm creating originally for this passenger. I'm going to clean the screen one more time, and once again, this is where your trip proposal lives to the right-hand side of the screen on the clipboard icon. From here, I can go ahead and share it right away. I'm not going to do it yet, or I can display it. I'm not going to do that yet. What I want you to know is that in order for you to save this proposal, there's something that you're going to have to do. You're going to notice that the briefcase, which is our trip summary that supposedly contains a PNR, has a green light, but it's empty because, again, we are not booking anything. The way for you to save these proposals, it's going to be to actually go into this briefcase and ignore it. All right? It sounds kind of weird, but that's the way it is. You are going to ignore, and I want you guys to take a look at the response with me. So the response again says the ignore was successful because, again, there was nothing really to save, and proposal successful. This really saves that proposal you've created. Now that we've saved and created a beautiful proposal for our customers with all the information that we need, air, hotels, and cars, we are going to get that displayed, and we're going to see how this works. Of course, you may have noticed at the top of my screen I have proposal in here, and there's different ways for you to search for proposal. One of the ways is actually to do it on your current PCC or branches. You can go ahead and you can do it by traveler name, and that's why I was telling you to add a name, even if that's not going to be the traveler that at the end you're going to be booking this for. And there's some other options like an email address, phone number, proposal ID, and my favorite one, agent ID. So, of course, if I actually type in my agent ID, I have a lot of proposals in here. So my advice to you is actually to take a look, of course, at the proposals that you create. That's going to be actually something nice for you to be able to do. But if you actually want to name your proposals, then that's going to also be a nice thing. Because, again, I create different proposals for the different trainings, so that's why I get this huge list. So again, in your case, this is going to be much nicer, I would say. I'm going to clean the screen and I'm going to go for the proposal we've created in here. So again, I will go ahead and I will use Leandro's last name in here for me to be able to get to the proposal we created. When you get the proposal displayed, which is going to show in here, you're going to be able to see the same possibilities we had before. I can add an alias, like if I wanted just to say in here, well, this is Bahamas trip. And I can click on add. That's again just to make it nicer. I can go ahead and again add more traveler information, passive segments, or service fees, and I can say, well, there's one of these options that I don't like anymore, so I don't want it. I don't want to share it with my customer. We are not going to delete anything, so I'm going to cancel. What I do want to show you is what happens when you share. And again, you can do that at any point. You can do it from the display that we have in here, or as we said before, when you click on the clipboard icon, you can go ahead and share it as well from the trip proposal summary. So if I click on share, basically what's going to happen is what's going to be generated for you to be able to send to your customer. Right here, you're going to have the example of how this is going to look like, and you can go ahead and you can copy that into an email. Now, instead of doing only that, there's more things that I can go ahead and add whenever I want to share this with my customer. For example, if I actually go into the segment with the price, I have the ability to include the rules. And it's going to tell me, well, what are the rules that you want to share with your customer? Well, I want to just share everything with them. And I'm going to say, well, these rules needs to be included before I actually share this information. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share now for you to be able to see how this looks like. And again, this is actually how the email is going to look like. What I need to do, it's actually to copy, and then I am going to go into an email, which you should be able to see at this point, and I'm going to paste it. Now, what I want you to know about this email, which of course it looks beautiful, is that you can also make modifications in here. And that's something nice about Trip Proposal is that, well, if they do not really need to see this coding here, then I don't share it. All right? If I want to change something about the amount, not that I'm saying that you have to, but again, you can just go ahead and you can do whatever you want. If the customer is not going to understand what the aircraft is, all right, that's fine. We just say plane, whatever. So you can go ahead and modify these and adjust it to really what the proposal you want for your customer to be. So again, I'm going to stop sharing that email. This is how you are going to be actually sharing the proposal with your customer. And last but not least, if you've shared the proposal with your customer and the customer said, well, I love that flight option. That's really, really what I want. At any point, you can go back to your proposal. You can display it or take a look at the right-hand side, and you may have noticed that the option to book is right there. Right before I book, I want to validate the price because I want to know this is still available and this is what I'm going to get at the end. So I'm going to actually see in here the validate price, which again, it is telling me that it's the same. And now if I really want to book this for my client, I can go ahead and book. And I can do this with the air itinerary. I can do it with the hotels and cars. If you take a look at the response, the segments have been added to the PNR, and right here you will be able to see all the information. Of course, again, at this point, you can go ahead and move in your profile. You could go ahead and you can add all the traveler information, and that's going to get your reservation created for the actual price that we were seeing before.